zrobić tylko razem.
Huge protests have taken place in Poland to show support for the European Union after the nation's constitutional court ruled this week that the Polish constitution overrides some EU laws. Donald Tusk, the top opposition leader in Poland and former EU leader, called the protest to defend Poland's continued membership of the bloc. Critics of the right-wing nationalist government fear that the court ruling could lead to so-called Polexit, or Poland being forced to leave the EU over a rejection of the bloc's laws and values. EU membership is extremely popular in Poland, having brought new freedom to travel and a dramatic economic transformation to the country, which endured decades of communist rule until 1989. But Poland's top court challenged the supremacy of European Union law in a ruling which widened the diplomatic rift between Warsaw and Brussels. EU Justice Commissioner Didier Reynders said all tools would be used to preserve EU law in Poland and that the principle of supremacy of EU law was at the heart of the Union.
As we've been hearing, tens of thousands of people in Poland rallied in support of the European Union this weekend, days after the country's constitutional court ruled some EU laws were incompatible with Poland's own legislation. Organisers say protests took place in around 100 towns across the country, with up to 100,000 people on the streets in Warsaw alone. I'm joined by Piotr Maciej Kaczynski from the Bronisław Geremek Foundation. Thanks very much for joining us today. First off, I wanted to ask you, a huge number of people joined these demonstrations. Was it a surprising number of people?
Yes, it was a surprising number of people because 100,000 was there in Warsaw and another 100,000 were everywhere else in Poland. So there was a big protest, and it was only like, what, 3-4 days to have the organization to do this. So, you know, it was very quickly done. So that's good. We basically saw that the Poles are not going to accept this tribunal verdict.
And how much do you think the government will be influenced by the number of people who came out in support of the EU at the weekend? Will it change their stance?
Potentially, yes, because last time there were so big protests, then the government took a step back. So we will see what happens now. We will see what will be happening between Brussels and Warsaw. This week, we will see what the court in Luxembourg will, what will be the decision about another issue that is about the money, whether the money from the recovery fund will come to Poland, and whether the rule of law what to do with it. And basically this saga is going to continue this week.
So as you say, this week, discussions going on. Presumably both sides will be looking for some sort of compromise. What do you think this compromise could end up looking like?
Oh, this compromise is very difficult to reach this week. Actually, this week probably we'll see more confrontation between the Polish government and the law and justice politicians with the rest of Europe and the Polish opposition. So what has to happen is that the Polish government has to understand that this is no flirt, that this is very, very serious matter that we are talking about. And the issues are not only about the funds that will flow to Poland this way or another, but whether Poland will remain member of the European Union, as the Polish Constitutional Tribunal has just questioned last week the very values that the European Union is based on.
Mr. Kaczynski, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.